Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. And we mean it. Every single video game that we can get our hands on, we want to play in order of release. We're currently playing the games at the beginning of December 1982. And we were last reading the winter issue of the Atari Connection. Let's see what the next game release is. We want to play some games. Our next game is Aztec Challenge. Oh, I love Aztec Challenge. We've already seen it on the Atari home computer. This is the very first port on the Commodore VIC-20. Let's check it out. And don't you love it when William Shatner just pops right into your commercial? I sure do. So here's the box for Aztec Challenge. And I think they just added a few stickers to say it's the Commodore VIC-20. This is the 330th video game we've seen on the VIC-20 so far. You can see it won awards because I consider Aztec Challenge one of the best video games you can play on any home computer right now. That's how good that I think this is. But you also see on the box some of the other ports we're going to see. Oh, and even the same, you can see it's a later box. It has the 1200 XL of Atari version and then the Texas Instruments version, which I really hope we get to see that one. Yeah, there we go. This it doesn't surprise me that this won so many awards. And all we got is another screenshot of the game. No manual. So let's just pop in that game and play. This is Aztec Challenge by Cosme, Robert T. Bonifacio, the beginning of December 1982. This is the 8th game we've seen by Cosme Corporation, and Robert Tenegal Bonifacio also did Meltdown, which we saw on the Atari home computer. That was kind of like Frogger, a really good version of Frogger, I might say. All right, so are we already in? Oh, it just goes right in. Look at that. I wasn't ready. It just began the game. I didn't even push anything on the digital joystick. It just goes. The fastest loading we've ever done. But we are not loading, giving you the real experience of December 1982. These games on home computers, some of them had 2 to 3 loading sequences that could take 15 minutes or even longer. You could make a whole sandwich. Whoa, okay, so yeah, it is Aztec Challenge, but the version that we played on the Atari home computer was the first version. I was holding off the second version and possibly going to give the second version a 5-star rating because of how well it plays and responds. But this one has a lot to be desired. The scroll of us playing the game seems very, very simplistic. And I know they're porting it to the Commodore VIC-20, so it is very impressive still for the Commodore VIC-20. But we've seen a little smoother scrolling. I like the guy is supposed to be, or at least the story is you're running away from Aztecs, so you are not you are not killed. He looks more like he's ambling, like we're just going on a nice leisurely stroll. You can see now the screens change, where the colors change. We're now at level 2. And I'm checking out the controls work the same way. If you push up on the joystick and jump, you do a really high jump. If you hold down on the joystick, you do a little hop to make yourself avoid the obstacles. He really does look like he's just relaxing. Oh, but if you smash into too much, I think that's our game over for our lives so far. Yeah, but here's what makes this game big, and I mentioned this when we saw it on the Atari home computer, is this. We can say, I want to continue the game. Majority of video games are going for, let's make it like the arcade. You know, you put a coin in and you can play again. And there are arcade games that, you know, you can put a coin in and continue to play. And I've marked the games that are can continue or pay to play in the arcade. At home, though, they're still doing what arcade games do. They really don't let you continue to play the game. You have to be really good. And so this is a very rare game that is allowing you to continue where you left off. Like I hit continue and we're back on level 2. We did not have to start the whole game over. It is a game changer when it comes to the video games we've seen, especially on home consoles. But yeah, I kind of understand how the game works. It's playing the same as we saw before. The Aztec setting is been seen in a few other games like Mask of the Sun or the incredible Aztec that we saw on the Apple II. But this one is what we would call a auto-run platformer. Platformers started to appear, and we started to get so many platformers that I had to classify them in different ways. What in the world is this? Whoa, that's so cool. They changed the the moving barriers to like these diamonds that you have to avoid. No way, that's tricky. What? And I guess you don't have to touch them? Yeah, you can't even touch them. Whoa, that's crazy. It's really hard too. This one is the 11th auto-run platform video game we've seen so far, and I can just continue. Oh, I love that. Jump Bug was one of the first ones, then Snapjack. We also saw Jungle King, Jungle Hunt, and Pirate Pete. Pogo Man was a really cool one on the Atari home computer, and Track Attack had an example like that. Right now, there is platformers that are out there that are not auto-run, like Pitfall and Smurf on ColecoVision. Pitfall we've seen both on the Atari 2600 and on the Intellivision. And so this one, I am not directing the movement. It is moving to the right automatically for me. It does have a few checkpoints for us, and it does have the continue feature, and that's what really makes this incredible. But this version, this port, compared to the Atari version, it's not as impressive. I don't know if I can call this one of the best games you could play, except it has that continue feature, so maybe that still makes it that good. It is using the digital joystick for a home computer, which is great. So I gave the Atari home computer version of this 4.5 stars of all the games you could play on all home computers. And when we do the re-release, I'm most likely going to give that one 5 on the Atari home computer. But this one, I don't know. We still have the fun factor of being able to go from level to level. And look, see how they're changing up the... Yeah, they already got me. I'm looking over the chat, already seeing some ratings thrown out, like 3 stars from James for the lukewarm port, and then a 4 from Punk Rock. Jeremiah's given it 3.5. And so this port, this game right now, December 1982, I can understand how it could be divisive because it's a very fresh idea, the auto-run platformer. And it is in the same vein as like Scramble, where you are going from level to level, seeing how far you can get, which is really fun. And I like how they're changing it up. Look at this. Adding obstacles. This is the kind of game that's going to eventually inspire, we talked about it way later, Super Mario Brothers as this obstacle course or an action game. So yeah, looking over, I like the decapitation part for it. Yeah, and I see mostly 3s coming out from Marshall, Charlie, and Barclay, or basically pretty average for all the games you could see up to this point on home computers. Well, I love the continue feature, so I cannot say that this is just a 3-star or around the average range. I have to at least start this at 3.5 stars because the being able to take over where you left off and progress level to level is so big. Think of all the games we played that are like Scramble, you know, where you're going from level to level. Every time that you died, you had to go all the way back to the very beginning again. I see a 3.5 from Mark, or 3.5. There you go. Yeah, it's I don't know if I can go as high as 4, but I did say on the Atari, yeah, I'll still stand with that as 4.5. This one is either 3.5 or 4 stars for all the. He does look pretty homeless, the way he was ambling about. But for this port, I'll say 3.5 stars. It doesn't have as much draw or appeal. Also, the control isn't as tight as the Atari version too. But it was probably a difficult port. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. It's time to go to France. In the arcade? France? Really? That's right, this is Bagman. Only in the arcade. Let's check out Bagman. The very first time you would have seen this, it wasn't called Bagman. It was called Le Bagnard. Because in France, or they called it this, or the convict is the rough translation. So the version we're seeing right now, the beginning of December 1982, is this game. Later, sometime around May 1983, or right before the summer 1983, is when this is going to be released in North America and in other regions as Bagman. So you'll see Bagman thrown around. We're going to put them all together, but this is the very first time, and this is the game that you would have seen. It is only in the arcade, and it is the 565th video game we've seen in the arcade so far. And when you think France, here on Chronologically Gaming, we do play video games in every region all over the world. We mark the games that are released first or originating from certain countries. This is the 9th video game we've seen that is originating from France. And majority of those games we saw on the Video Pack G7000. So this one's by Valadon Automotive. Check out the back of the flyer. They do a full comic strip. This one's all in French, but cool idea and concept, because this is not based on, at least to my knowledge and the research I did, of an existing comic. They made it up for this game. Great publicity and good marketing too. Very first time we've seen Valadon Automation and the developers of this. It's going to be ported to lots of places. So when we see it as this, Bagman, this is the Stern Flyer when it was released in North America, but Taito is the one that brought Bagman to Japan, and it was released in other places in Europe, Spain, and other countries besides just France. But you can see there's the comic strip. As soon as I get rid of this, I'll get the gold I stashed. And it shows you he's playing the game in the comic strip. That is awesome. That is great. That is like, makes me think of Popeye that we've already seen in the arcade and then at home on the Philips video pack. And then he gets all the money and says, "This is my kind of work." You flip this one over. On the back of this is the arcade cabinet. It shows you the game, some screenshots, and it explains how to play the game too. Gives you some help if you need that. And there's the example of the arcade cabinet as well. This one's going to be really fun. There's the arcade PCB. Yeah, and Stern is killing. This is a good one. There's our control panel. It's a 4-way joystick, and all you have is an action button. The action button, though, it shows you right here on the panel. It picks up sacks of gold, the pickaxe, the wheelbarrow. It jumps Bagman on the wheelbarrow and grabs the roof beam, and it explains how to get away from guards. So it has a lot of instructions that you'd have to learn. Here's the arcade marquee. Still showing the comic strip that we saw on the advertisement flyer. And why not? Great selling point. And another testament to we've changed from the early days of video gaming to now we have characters on the screen that have a personality, and they're associating them with comics of comics that didn't exist. So cool. Yeah, there you go. There's the artwork for it. Oh, manly. Yes, that's right. It's only one button. It's like it's made for the Atari. So this is the example of a screenshot of the game. We do have the operator's manual, the later one that Stern did. So here's how they explain what Bagman is. How do you play this? The objective is to maneuver Bagman through various mine shafts, picking up money bags, placing the money bags in the wheelbarrow, which is at the surface of the mine. The money bag bonus is time operated, which means the longer you take, the less points you're going to be awarded. You have to get those money bags up there fast to get the most bonus points. While climbing through the mine shafts, Bagman avoids pursuing guards, moving ore carts, and descending elevators. Whoa, it's got lots of stuff. Guards may be temporarily stunned by striking them with a pickaxe or dropping money bags on them as they're climbing the ladder. Bagman can move horizontally on the surface in the shafts via the ore cart. I've never heard it called that. Well, we usually call it a mine cart. From rack to rack without the wheelbarrow. Bagman's moved horizontally or vertically, and then there's the action button and all the things you can do. That one button does a lot. It picks up and drops wheelbarrows. It puts money bags in the wheelbarrows. It grabs and releases ceiling beams. It picks up and drops pickaxes. It does everything. That is the action button. And the rest of the operator manual does not tell us about the game except that one. All right, so this one had lots of versions. You can see we got bootlegs on Crazy Kong, Moon Cresta, and then the Stern version and the French version. We are going to go to the arcade and play Le Bagnard, or Bagman. This is by Jacques Brisset and Hélène Valadon. Released in the beginning of December 1982. Bagman. So I am playing the Stern version because you can see all the artwork around the outside. I don't have a lot of artwork of the French version, but the very first time you would have seen this game and played this would have been in France. These developers and this company is the first time we've ever seen them, and I'm just really excited to go in and see what this is like. This already sounds pretty good, at least I'm looking at the attract mode. And I kept around the comics on the outside. It's the same behind my head right here and then over there if you want to read more of the story or how you can play the game. Whoa, it's already looking like a larger world too. All right, let's put a coin in and go. Nice. We got more public domain music while we play. So I can climb ladders. I can move around. My action button does not let me jump. Which means I don't really classify this as an arcade platformer. I call this a fixed platformer because we're not getting to run around and jump like we do with the other ones. All right, so I can move. I can grab a bag. Once I pick up the bag, I slow down. I move way slow, but you get to the real wheelbarrow. You get all that golden wheelbarrow, and that's where you get the points. And I think we can move the wheelbarrow, too. Action button says we can do it all, right? Yes, look at that. Get it a little closer to this side. This gives me lots of freedom, so I have to remember... Oh.
Ay, ay, ay.
And he talks. He says, ay, ay, ay. What is that? I should have done it whenever I've known about the minecart. But see, that's another thing that takes this game apart from the rest. what you're seeing is not the action on this screen. That minecart is moving left and right because you can go all the way to the other side of the screen. Here, I'll show you.
Ay, ay, ay.
I was going to jump in the minecart, but it looks like one of the workers got us. So here, I'll move myself over on this side. You can use the action button to grab the top like this, dodge, and then you can go to the next screen. What? It is a multi-screen arcade game. And it goes even more. I believe it's 3. Watch, I can keep walking to the other side. That's incredible. So this is a 3-screen arcade game. And not to say that we haven't played games like this, but I'm just thinking of Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong did take place on other screens, but you had to finish one screen and then you went to another one. It wasn't connected. There wasn't enemies chasing us from one screen to the other. I didn't even bring my wheelbarrow over here, so I can't collect all these points. I have to... Oh, that's the dead end. Yeah, you can't keep going to the right. Yeah, I have never seen this game in the arcade or played it in the arcades. Having played every video game in order of release, Bagman or Le Bagnard is really, really good. I mean, when you consider all the other games right now that are available in the arcades, this is phenomenal. How cool this is.
Ay, ay.
What did we lose? we took too long. You fall down if you don't get any money or steal any money. It's like we have to steal money. That is, that's our goal. Oh, he might get hit by the minecart again. Let's see. Knock him out. Oh, he didn't knock him out? That's cheap. This slow down when you're walking means that you're going to be taking a lot longer to get some of the stuff. Let's move the minecart over. The other thing I like is the persistence of the workers of the mine are passing from screen to screen. That's huge. I want to play this so much and learn so much about the game. It always starts you back on the first screen every single time, though. So you can use the pickaxe to knock out the workers if you want to. Let's see if he comes all the way down. If he does, I'll just grab the pickaxe. Yeah. See him start running? Alright, let's see if we can rush to the top. He's stunned temporarily, but we are slow. See how fast he's going up the ladder? And I can just say, alright, drop the money and knock him out so I can go grab this one. And then I'll work my way on the side. Lots of cool possibilities and things we haven't seen in video games before. So this is a fresh, new idea. Yes, I would have spent so many quarters on this. This is a cool evolution. And bear in mind, we've played the prototype version called Miner of... Oh, let me go on this side. Miner, which is the prototype for... I can't think of the digging game now. It's the one that's based on Space Panic that I just brain farted the name of the game, where you have to run around and dig to capture the enemies. We haven't seen that game yet. Yeah, that's true. And we haven't seen official elevator action yet either. So to put an elevator there, we've seen games with elevators and the mechanic of elevators, but this is the first time we've seen... we haven't seen elevator action yet. This is so cool. Oh, I need to wait for... Oh, no! And I don't have a way to defend myself, so... The speech, though, is another thing that's cool, too. There's only one other game that comes to mind where... I don't have to put my... Oh, there we go. I'll just put AAA. That's how you rate. And advance. Return. And then end with the action button. I want to keep going. Keep going. This is awesome. Alpiner that we played on the Texas Instruments home computer is the only other game that comes to mind right now of you're playing a character and the character has speech. Like it gives them more character. So this is awesome playing as a video game character that's talking, or at least a little bit. So cool. I love this. Yeah, I could play this all night. It's so much fun. This is great. So this one is up to this point we played 62 arcade platformers like, Donkey Kong Jr., Joust, Kangaroo, and things like that. In other words, games that take place on one screen like this, but they allow you to jump. Oh, it went all the way down. Yikes. I almost went on it. This one is a fixed platformer. This is the 31st fixed platformer we played and the 11th fixed platformer we've seen so far in the arcade. Fixed platformers mean like Space Panic, Apple Panic, Yosaku, Dockman, or Portman. In other words, games you're not able to jump as a platformer on one screen. Bellhop on the Apple II, which did have elevators. Monster Bash, that's in the arcade, had one mode like that. Burger Time is a really big one, and Popeye is another really big one. So this one is doing a flip screen effect, where we're going from screen to screen as a fixed platformer, and I don't believe we've seen anything that's done that yet. Pitfall, obviously, is not a fixed platform, but Pitfall is going from screen to screen. It has 255 screens, way more than this one. But it's still very, very impressive. We did play a game on the TRS-80 called Panic that was a fixed platformer that was scrolling. It was like a scrolling back and forth, which was also very impressive. And then another one was Smurf on the ColecoVision, which is a platformer that had flip screen scrolling. So it went from screen to screen, but it didn't jerk, back and forth. See how we're jerking one screen to the other? It actually scrolled a little bit before it went to the other side. So up to this point, we've seen a little bit of games that do something like this. Police Jump on the CreativeVision had flip screen scrolling that was doing it vertically. Every time that you climbed up, like in Donkey Kong, instead of just going to another screen, it actually scrolled up to a new screen, which was very nice. Another one was Knight's Castle that we saw on the Sharp MZ line of home computers that did that. But this is so cool to have multiple screens to work with. Oh, I see. I can drop down the money bags on these guys to get more. I think he's fast. Yeah, I've still been able to catch him. I really want to go get the blue bag that's hidden behind a wall. You have to get down there and get the pickaxe, which I think I can do. Oh, see, I took too long to pick up a money bag. If you take too long, he just gets knocked out. He has no purpose. Our purpose is to steal money. This is also, to my knowledge, the very first video game we've played that allows you to ride in a minecart, which is going to be a video game mechanic for a lot. But, I mean, we're able to ride inside of one, which I can show you how if I don't get smashed on the side. Let's see if I can go on this one. I'll jump in here, because I want to make my way down to the bottom anyway. We'll leave our minecart there. We need food like we do in a Calabeth. You have to keep eating. All right, so let's use the pickaxe. He's not going to come after us? Okay. So you can use the pickaxe. You can actually dig through this wall. Look at that. And when you dig through it, you can pick up the blue money bag. It is lots of bonus points, but look how slow you move. You are so slow. It's a great risk-reward feature. I think we're going to be all right because we placed the wheelbarrow in a nice spot. Look at that. Love it. And again, he's still talking to us. It's really, really cool. So yeah, the game involves mining. The game involves crime because we have to be a thief. This is the 9th video game that has a crime idea or motif that we've seen to this point. Like Lock and Chase, running away from the law, or Streaking that we saw in the arcade also had that. Auto Chase on the CreativeVision, or Getaway on the Atari home computer. And then the money bag feature is something we have seen. This is what I meant by riding in the minecart. I love this. You can even take a money bag and write it in the minecart with you. Can I jump up? Yeah, you can jump up here. I think my energy. I need to quickly get something in my. This is so fun. But this reminds me a lot of Lupin 3, or Lupin the Third that we saw in the arcade. Lupin was more of a top-down maze game like Pac-Man was, but you picked up a money bag and you slowed down like this. Like, do you risk carrying the money bag around and then bring it to the end or not? So this is the first in the Bagman-like games or variants of Bagman, and we're going to see lots of other variants and people try this concept and play games like this as we continue to. This is the very first one we'll ever see, and in 1984 we are going to get Super Bagman. So I think we've already seen. Oh yeah, someone said Load Runner. That's the one I couldn't remember. So we haven't even seen Load Runner officially yet on Chronologically Gaming. That's one of the biggest, best fixed platformers that will be released, and that's not even out yet. So cool. Do I want to keep playing? Yes. I do not want to leave the arcade. I want to stay in France and play Bagman right now. So of all the games you can play, and everything in the arcade. This one has a lot of new, and so I could start this at 4 stars and go up from there. This is excellent. So I'm seeing 4, 4.5. I got a 5. Oh, Charlie's saying, yeah, it looks great, sounds great. Mark's throwing out 5 stars too. Manly saying best in class. Yeah, because while you're not running and jumping, there's so many mechanics of the action button that I might even say a 5-star arcade game. It's amazing though, because this one is not going to be ported home. This is only in the arcade. Bagman is. Yeah, maybe a 5. Oh man, it's so good. You know what? Because of maybe we'll see some other ports we went lower, but right now, how fresh this is and how great, how fun this is, I'm going 5. 5 stars for Le Bagnard. Later it'll be Bagman, but this one's excellent. One of the best arcade games you could play and check out right now. It's inspiring other games too. It's so fun. John's throwing out 4.5, so still lots of people in the chat saying it's one of the best games you could play in the arcade right now. Yes, Curtis, there are lots of unofficial ports of this one coming up. All right, after that game, what could possibly be next? Our next release takes us to the Atari home computer. This is Baja Buggies. And we saw a little bit of this from some of the magazines we've read on the show. Let's see what's up with Baja Buggies. So here's the box. Baja Buggies was first devised as Night Rally by Arcade Plus. And what in the world happened to Arcade Plus? Because we saw only one game on the show by this company, and it was Ghost Hunter, the really good Pac-Man clone. And we heard about these games released by Arcade Plus, but we can't find them, or the company went down. So I'm sure there's a really great story with Arcade Plus, but I sadly don't know what it is. So this was first done by that company, or started with as Night Rally, and we saw that in the magazine. And this is the release that eventually came out. This one, always seen by Arcade Plus, was Ghost Hunter, and that's all we're going to get. This one is only for the Atari home computer, and it's the 429th game we've played for the 400 or 800. This, you can see, is by GameStar, and this is by Dan Ugrin. Way to go, Dan. The second time we've seen GameStar and Dan. The other one he did was Star Bowl Football. That game came from Arcade Pro Football, which was done by Arcade Plus. Again, it's like Arcade Plus was doing these amazing games, but something happened to the company. Hopefully we see more from the developers of the company too. You can see on the front of the box, they're not really pulling any punches. It's a racing game, all right, but it's kind of a special one. Let's flip it over the back. There we go. Dan Ugrin, one driver at a time. It's 110 degrees in the shade. You're about to have the time of your life on the most exciting road race ever created, Baja Buggies by GameStar. So it's a company that I guess was taken from Arcade Plus into another one. Someone said Baja Humbug. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to see right now. So this is Baja Buggies. Let's see the other artwork we got for this one. There we go. The ad we've seen in magazines, and I don't know if we saw this one. I thought we saw an Arcade Plus one, but there's Baja Buggies and Star Bowl Football. Star Bowl Football is still one of the best ways to play football on anything right now. It's that good. But originally it was devised by Arcade Plus. Very interesting. So here's the example of the cassette tape that we're going to play Baja Buggies on. It was available also on disc with an example of the screenshot. We also have a manual, How to Be a Star in Baja Buggies, the official racing manual. This one is the 118th racing video game that we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming. This is the 47th racing game, all racing game genre on home computers. And this is the 10th racing game that we've seen for the Atari home computer. That's what kind of racing the racing world looks like as far as video games go. You've been invited to participate in the most challenging road race yet devised, the GameStar 100. Your competition is the Sports Legends. Brief rundown so you know who you're up against. Oh, they got nice touch. The manual's giving you the bad guys. Mario Sanduni, the king of the sand dunes. AJ Cactus. I love this. This reminds me of when we were about to play a role-playing game. But it's a racing game. Parnelli Pothole. Loves to fly over ditches, gullies, and canyons at 99 miles an hour. Oh, that's great. So it explains here how to load the cassette or the disc. No cartridge version of this one, at least not to my knowledge. And we don't need to know how to load it because we're going to be loading a lot faster than you would right now in December 1982. So it explains what the select button and option button does. You can go through AM or Pro. So we're going to start with the AM course 1, and that shows you the difficulty on the right side. You can go Pro R course for really difficult. There's the joystick control. So you steer and brake, which means the red button on your Atari VCS joystick is the brake button. Very, very strange, but all you do is steer left and right, and then start begins the race. The race is on. Is it there checkpoints? I don't think so. If you're good enough to finish in the top 6, consider yourself a buggy star. It explains how to drive your buggy. All you do is left, right, and brake, though, so there's not a lot of controls. Here's what the control panel looks like and what you need to know to race. Very simple. I get the gist, got the idea. And it has some special features, skill levels between pro and amateur, and what the different courses are. So nice that they have multiple courses. That's pretty cool. And then if you want to join the buggy bunch, finish 6th place or better in any race, take a photo, and you get a keychain membership card. Did anyone get the keychain membership card for this one? Oh, nice. And they got tips for all the stars from Dan Ugrin. I love how they do that. Thanks, Dan. Let's see what happens when we race the game. So this one has both the disc and cassette versions. Let's pop in that cassette and play the Baja Buggies. This is GameStar, released in the beginning of December 1982. This has a lot of stuff going for it. An off-road racing game? I think it's the very first off-road racing game we've ever played up to this point. Baja Buggies by GameStar. And so it is giving us the difficulty levels. We have a high score table, which is another nice touch for home computers. Give me more arcade action, or at least racing. There's not a whole lot of racing games out there. All right, so to get into this one, let's go to the options screen. You can see I can switch between course 1, 2, and R. I'll do course 1, and you can switch between amateur and pro. I'm going to be an amateur race and go. Wow. It auto-accelerates. It is just allowing me to go left and right, and then where's my... Yeah, all I have is a brake. And then down at the bottom, there's a really small, I don't know if I want to call it a radar. It's more of an indicator of where you are, but all you have to do is pass without crashing into them. I'm lowering the volume so you're not assailed with the constant revving of engines, because that's pretty much all you hear, and the crash sound. If it really is too quiet, I'll raise the volume up, but that's all you hear in the game, is the sound of the engine, and it's not really doing the pokey chip justice here on the Atari home computer. Oh, and you're right, the brake lights work. Nice touch. What? I didn't hit him at all. Come on, where's the hit detection on that one? Let's go to max speed. This is very cool, and this is a very rare style of game. I mentioned all those racing games we've seen so far. This perspective, or this view, the behind view for a racing game, this is only the 4th racing game of all systems we've seen that is doing this perspective. And it is the very first we've ever seen with a racing game for a home computer right now. December 1982, Baja Buggies is that fresh of an idea. Right now, Turbo has been in the arcades that we've seen, and it's on the ColecoVision, and then Pole Position is what we've seen in the arcades. This is the first time at home you would have played a racing game like this. Not to say we haven't seen, Night Driver and games that are doing from a first-person perspective, but this one is the very first racing game that's you're behind the vehicle, you're seeing the car while it's driving down the road. And it's not doing like it does with all the Night Driver variants we've seen, where it's just pylons that are made for the road. This one is actually giving more of an experience being on the road. Take a look at what they're doing in the background. That's really, really nice. Oh, that's true. We're not exploding when we're crashing. They could really have done that. Yes, this is very visually appealing, and it's very rare to see a game like this. We're very accustomed to racing games to look like this, but right now in December 1982, this is so fresh and so cool. Pole Position is not home yet. You cannot play Pole Position at home. It's coming up. We're going to see it pretty soon, but it's not here right now. Now I want to crank this to the max and see what the other difficulty levels are like. Yeah, the scaling in the back is very nice. And then I'm just using my brake button, which is very strange. We're not holding the button down to accelerate. There's also no gear shifting like you would with the drag racing games we played. We're almost at the end. Quick! I also don't have any option to move the joystick up and down. It just moves left and right. Go! This must be the home stretch. Or did we... I finished 9th. I finished all my playtests. I did the amateur course 1 and never finished. It always... my car broke down. I finished 9th. That's so cool. All right, let's switch this out. Let's go to course R and make it pro. Everyone ready? Here we go. All right, we need to go. I have no idea how difficult this is going to be. Maybe we will crash and burn. Maybe we will explode. Let's find out. So you can kind of hear the brake sound. It's a lot louder than the whenever you're driving down the road. But all you hear when you drive down the road is the sound of the engine, a monotonous tone coming out of your Atari home computer. Yeah, this one is like a precursor to what pole position or what they're going to be doing with a pole position whenever it comes home, but it's not there yet. That's why Baja Buggy is so big. It's amazing what just a different perspective can do, because this already feels more impressive or cooler to play than when I was playing all the Night Driver clones that are on the other home computers. Sweet. All right, so I'll level with you. After playing the game, did anyone throw... I don't think anyone threw out any ratings yet. So this game, while it looks visually amazing and they got the game options here for the different courses, it's a one-player only experience, but there's a few things in this game that are off. And what's really surprising is I looked up some of the reviews that came out for this game at the time, and one of the reviews was for Electronic Fun with Computers and Games when they reviewed this in May 1983. So we're not there yet, but the rating and what the reviewer said about the game is exactly the same way I feel about this game. This game should be top tier. This should be a 4.5 or 5-star game on home computers, but it has a few flaws, and I agree with these flaws. Number 1, the sound is drab. All we're hearing is the sound of the engine, and that's why we need games like Outrun where you have music or something to play in the background. They may not be able to do it, but the sound's just white noise, basically. There's also no accelerator. All we're doing is the brake and no gear shifter. And the other big one is we're moving left and right, and we don't have as much control with the joystick. Why wasn't this programmed with a paddle? It feels like it would work way better, because we played other driving games from the first-person perspective using a paddle. And so this one, I would have a lot more maneuverability. I feel like I would have more control if it was paddle controlled. So I'm looking over in, I'm looking in the chat, and yes, I'm actually agreeing with most of the people. This should be a 4.5 or 5, but sadly I cannot give it that because of those flaws that I mentioned. So I would say I see 3.5s and 4s, above averages from some people. Yeah, I actually would like to say 4 just because there's nothing else that looks like this, but because of... Oh, Enduro is another one. That's a good point, bringing up Enduro. Yeah, I don't think we've even seen that one yet. That's a good point, Paul. So this one, I'm thinking 3.5 or 4 stars of all the games you could play on all home computers. I really don't want to even go as high as 4 just because of the gameplay isn't as intuitive. I see a 4 from Paul out there, 3.5. Yeah, and then, yeah, so I'm going to say 3.5 stars. Of all the games you could play on all home computers, it's an above average game, but this should have been destined for greatness. This is beating pole position to the punch at home, and it could have been even better than this. So Baja Buggies, or whatever Arcade Plus started, this is what we got. That's pretty nice. All right, that's where we got to put all the video game playing on pause. Thanks again, everyone, joining me here live for the show, putting out your ratings, being here in the beginning of December 1982. I really appreciate it. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, an impossible game, again, on the ZX81. Basketball on the Emerson Arcadia 2001. And the last video game by Data Age in 1982 for the Atari 2600. That's it for today, and like I always say, this is my kind of work. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.